move forward to the next section, which talks about sustaining interest in the arts. Of course, right now with COVID, because the great impact on our kids, or rather in terms of teachers, how you're going to replan, realign your program, whether it's a hybrid method, because we heard this word hybrid a lot. So I'm just going to maybe quickly ask Irene, in your understanding, of pushing the CCAs, hoping that students will assess the CCAs in a more open-minded manner and try as much and discover themselves. How do you think, beyond just performance and finding platforms for them to try, what other ways do you think you can sustain their interest in your arts or in the CCAs?
Other ways. I think we were looking at, in fact, we do have, when we look at the traditional dance, right? We do have a Chinese girl who was very, very keen to join the Indian dance. So when we talk about why is she, what triggered that passion or that interest is really the fast movement of the Indian dance that caught her attention. So I think we are trying to, in the way when we market the CCA, when the students come into the room, they are, it's the energy of the dancers, their peers, that really energize them in that sense. So it's really the exposure. I think the kids, in terms of the peer influence, is very strong, right? So when yeah.
We know that at the age, peer influence is one key aspect that we must really focus and look in terms of the immediate sphere of influence. Hopefully that will excite them or ignite them, and hopefully they have friends who join hand in hand and then participate in CCA. Usually you see that happen in school, isn't it? Where at the age of 13, 14, they may not know what to enroll, and then probably ask you, "Why are you joining?" "I'm going to follow you." Isn't it? But how do you allow them to have the right mix of friends? Is that what you think about sustaining their interest in the arts?
Right. So in terms of, because when friendship, I think, is important for the young people. I mean, definitely like what you mentioned, when they go hand in hand, they want to also discover their friendships through what they are interested in, or even they may not have an idea of what the dance is about, or the movement that comes with them, or the hard work in training. But I guess it's the influence that got them to really keep up with it. I mean, we do see students initially when they join the CCA, they are just in a mindset that, okay, maybe I will just try. But as the months move by, and with the encouragement from their seniors, who also got involved in really hand-holding them closely, and with the instructor who is really giving them the feedback, because now we do have kind of a skill checklist where the students really look forward to improving their skills, and hopefully year by year, when they try to master those skills, they really look forward to what is the next step for them, right? So in terms of mastering the skill is one of the motivation for the students, and of course the constant feedback that the instructors and the teachers give really push them to the next level.
And I would like to maybe share a little bit of Kelly's experience. Maybe Kelly would like to share with us about your experience, because you have actually given me a very good start for this forum, because you shared with me about how you sustained your passion for dancing from JC, and after you graduated, you still consistently for 10 years. It's not easy, and now you're in this portfolio of promoting aesthetic in your school, and looking at. I want to ask your principal, based on the school, in terms of looking at the whole cohort of students, 1,000 over students, and also not just one batch, every year, how do you sustain the interest of the arts for the entire population, entire stakeholders? You know what I mean? Because we always think that, okay, school, we are here for the student. True, but then as a school, there are so many stakeholders. You're in the neighborhood, you have the community of influencers, there are grassroots, there's community center, you could work with many, many people. How do you collectively bring the energy that arts may be a very important platform or tool to connect or to bond? How have you managed to do so? Because it seems to me that you have mobilized all the people that you need just to empower and champion for your vision for the arts.
I think first of all, it's like a lot of children. You don't just have one favorite. Okay, so although arts is near and dear to me, we like to think that we are equally putting in energy to look for opportunities for students in other areas. So the uniform groups, the sports as well. Okay, but it happens that the performing arts has one very unique quality, and that is its ability to rally a lot of people together and bring a lot of people together to have this sense of a common identity. You need not be the performer. You could be the one enabling the performance. So you could be backstage. You could be part of you could be an ASM. You could be a sound manager. You could be the one taking the photograph. You could be the one doing the ushering. You could also be the audience. So everyone is a part of that magic of understanding and sustaining arts as far as we are concerned. So in different ways, we've tried in our modest way to connect with the stakeholders we know, and every now and then, if we are successful, they invite our students to perform, all right, at various platforms. And we have been very lucky that each one of these platforms of public performances, we have been able to get the most mileage out of them in order for the students themselves to come together, to have that mutual respect with their instructor, and the instructor also feels good when they are able to use it as a authentic learning platform for various things, including values. And then after that, we extend it further because the bonding with the teachers and the students amongst them will be very, very strong. And then the memories made, and then the classmates and the schoolmates and the teachers cheering them on is something that we also want to have that multiplier effect. So we have learned over the last few years that it's not, this special feeling doesn't come from just winning awards. It just comes from public performances or performing in a public place. So like through Kelly and the Arts, Media and Design program, before COVID-19, we actually created lunchtime performance times. We had a show time, something we call showtime, capital exclamation mark, and it happened once every semester. And we threw it open to all the students. You just go and form whatever you want to, right? Get people who are like-minded, send us an audition tape, and then the teachers will sort through and decide whether you make you are part of the entertainment for that hour or however long it is. And then we just provide the students with a place and just advertise it, and by word of mouth, the peers come to support their friends. And it is very wonderful to see when students let their hair down and enjoy one another and enjoy one another's talents or the courage to just perform for one another. And it's very interesting to see young people grow, you know, when they first come in and they perform at a certain skill level, and later on they become more skillful and they start to form a band, all right, and then they start to put a friend who can sing and rope that person in. So they become a bit more entrepreneurial, all right, in how they are also making use of some of these opportunities. So now with COVID-19, some of the things we tried out last year was to get them to perform online, to do video recordings, and then to selectively showcase it in different ways. And it's happening even in our music lesson. Our music teacher Michael does that as well, right? He sets the students up and say there will come an endpoint. This is the D-Day. So unlike a performance, an actual public performance, that will be a video recording, all right? And so they are practicing and they're learning all the way towards that particular time or that particular day, and then he will do the recording, and then they'll get to watch it and others get to watch it as well. So I think we are trying very hard to give such opportunities and to see how technology allows us to expand it. So we've also put in quite a bit of resources to get good people to put the post-production of filming, taking pictures, you know, putting it together, because the recording of the performance as a memory is also very important. Because now there's the social media platforms that we can use to also help the students who, when they perform, they cannot see themselves, right? So once you have that recording, they can see themselves, and then there are very, very interesting stories that we can tell from each one of those performances. So I think it's about all of us trying very hard to remember these stories and to tell them. But I think COVID-19 has taken away a lot of the real essence of an actual performance, the live aspect, which I think we are all hoping will come back one day, because nothing can replace that magic of a relationship between the audience and the musicians and the performers, whatever it may be. So we do hope one day that our students get a chance to experience that, in the so-called normal before COVID-19 sense of the word. Yeah.
Certainly, in terms of the appreciation for the art, and by hearing how you mentioned there are lots of ways that you're trying to expose your students to connect with the stakeholders, to sustain the interest for the arts collectively. And I like the way that you mentioned about the multiplier effects. How do you create special feelings as each student or all of us might have different experience and connect with certain things that you like. And also the last thing you mentioned also about the memory to form stories is so important. Even right now when I spoke to Kelly about her dancing day, in fact, it has actually somehow rather reminder of the good times, right? As a student, even after graduated, how do you sustain and meeting old friends, especially, as now in your new portfolio as a teacher, probably you'll be more mindful about what more you want to give them, that love for the arts, which is not just about curriculum itself, but so much thing beyond curriculum, beyond the school hours. What more can you add on, to beautify that story making process and co-create with the student, which is very important.